Here's a shocking reality. Only 1/3 of our global population has familiarity with the basic financial concepts such as interest rates, inflation, and compound interest, let alone complex investing techniques. The percentage of US adults with poor financial literacy has increased from 20% in 2017 to over 25% in 2023. Nearly 3 out of 4 teens find the financial literacy to be lacking. Schools are definitely not teaching this, and our government doesn't want to fix this. So where does our financial knowledge come from? You're right. Almost half of those who closely monitor the finances say that they learned about personal finance from their parents or at home. What would be fair to ask is, if we are not educated about finance, how can we pass it down to the next generations? So today, my friends, let's look at 10 financial lessons that can help create generational wealth, and the absence of these lessons that can destroy it. Firstly, let's understand that money is a tool and not a taboo. In most cultures worldwide, money is treated as a taboo subject. Asian families often say, don't be greedy. European families emphasize that money doesn't buy happiness. And generally, families everywhere around the world usually avoid discussing finances altogether. Now, I know for a fact that growing up, that we hardly discussed finances as a family in our household. But financially savvy parents, on the other hand, regardless of geography, do just the opposite. They try and demystify money as easily as possible for their children. They teach their children that money is just a tool that buys us options, that buys us time, access, and peace of mind. Money by itself is not good or evil. Money is neutral. What matters is how you use it. So saying things such as, money isn't everything, or we don't talk about money, doesn't make you feel noble. In fact, it makes you feel vulnerable in a system that's built entirely around it. Explain what an asset-liability game is to your children. This is where most families get destroyed financially and they don't even realize it. The distinction is clear. Assets are those that put money in your pockets, and liabilities are those that take money out of your pockets. There's no two ways about it. No exceptions. If your rental income gives you even $100 worth of profit every month, that is an asset. But your shiny new car, which has a monthly payment, as much as the world convinces you that it's an asset, it's just an expensive liability. The psychological trap exists everywhere. We are wired to buy things that look valuable and enhance our status, but silently, what these are doing is just bleeding us dry from within. This single lesson about assets and liabilities can make or break a family's financial future. Those who understand this difference build wealth for generations, and those who don't spend their lives working for possessions instead of making the possessions work for them. Another important aspect, which I did not realize until quite late, is focusing on cash flow, not just on the salary. You can earn high six figures and still live paycheck to paycheck, but you can equally learn half of it and still build serious wealth. What's the difference? The difference is in your awareness of cash flow. The OECD 2023 survey of adult financial literacy involving 39 countries and economies show that Gen Zs and the younger millennials have the lowest financial literacy rates worldwide, and this shows in their financial behavior. They are chasing higher salaries instead of focusing on what actually matters, what ultimately stays at the end of the month, and how that multiplies. Now, financially savvy families concentrate on cash flow. They try to automate everything. They automate their savings, they prioritize their investing, and build multiple income streams. Wealth isn't about how much you make. In the end, it's about how much you can keep and allow it to grow. It's not about prioritizing appearances. Of course, a big house, an expensive car, designer clothes, etc. can make you look rich. With zero savings, are you really wealthy? The next aspect is about learning to make money conversations normal. In financially literate households, money isn't a crisis topic. It can be a regular conversation. Children can see how expenses are tracked, how budgets are planned, and how investment decisions are made. They witness the thought process behind every financial choice in their household. And this early exposure can be crucial, in fact invaluable. Research shows that parental financial engagement directly correlates with the child's financial outcomes across all measured economies. This correlation, my friends, isn't just coincidental. It is causal. If your children never learn how money works at home, it makes it even more difficult for them as adults to figure it out. Financial literacy isn't inherited. It is passed down. It is taught. And most of the teaching happens at the dinner table, not in classrooms. The next aspect is exploring the creation of multiple income streams. Now, the formula with most middle-class families is study hard, get a degree, land a job, work hard for 40 years, and then retire. Now, this formula is not just outdated, it can actually be dangerous in today's economy. Financially sharp parents can explain that 9 to 5 isn't the only path. They introduce various concepts such as freelancing, consulting, starting your own business, investing in stocks and real estate, building passive income streams, and even creating digital products if that's your forte. Now, whether you teach your kids to work for money or teach them to make the money work for you can well determine the financial future. The next aspect is just a reiteration of what I said before, is automating your habits. True generational wealth is not built through luck, hustle, or get-rich-quick schemes. It is built through consistent and disciplined habits. The magic of compounding really kicks in only after about 20 or 25 years of consistent saving and investing. This is why financially disciplined families automate everything, from savings to investments to bill payments. When the children grow up watching this systematic approach, they internalize this behavior. Children understand that financial success isn't about willpower, it's more about the systems you build. Teach your children that time is the ultimate currency. Money can be earned back, time cannot. Savvy parents teach their children to think in terms of time value, how to protect your time, how you can buy it back, and how you can use it wisely. They teach when to outsource, when to say no, and when to invest in systems and tools that can free you up in order to make bigger decisions. Never underestimate the power of compounding interest. With a 10% return on your investment, something as much as 100,000 can multiply into 1.6 million in about 28 years without doing anything. Time is literally money when you understand compounding. The next aspect, my friends, is to normalize investing and compounding. In financially smart households, investing isn't a scary word. It's just a matter of course. It is normal. Children grow up hearing about stocks, bonds, real estate, risk management, compounding returns, etc. And this exposure matters enormously. You can't expect a young adult to make smart investment decisions if they've never seen one made before. Don't let the only financial discussions at home be about bill payments, loan payments, and sales discounts. Go one step beyond. Talk about investing and investing smartly. The next aspect is learning to celebrate your wealth or success. Some families unknowingly sabotage their children's financial future with toxic money mindsets. You might have often heard people say, rich people are greedy, that money corrupts people, success means you have exploited people, and money is the root cause of all evil. Now, financially confident families don't quite frame success as something shameful. They teach children that building wealth ethically is something that you need to be proud of. They teach the children that money amplifies who you already are. It doesn't change your core character. And finally, teach your children to play the long game. This is the most crucial lesson of all. Financial savvy families aren't looking for quick wins or shortcuts. They are playing the 10-year, 20-year, even 30-year generational game. These families focus on consistency, on patience, and delayed gratification. It may take you 20 to 30 years for wealth to accumulate, but once it has, here's the payoff. The wealth grows and it can feed off itself, accelerating the process. You don't need to do anything. This is how generational wealth gets built. It's never too late, my friends. If you weren't taught these lessons growing up, it's not your fault. But now that you know, it becomes your responsibility to pass it on to the generations that depend on you. Parents need to talk more openly with their kids about money, and schools need to make more effort to include financial education as part of their curriculum. The statistics are clear. This just isn't happening at scale. Now, whether we realize it or not, we are teaching our children about money right now, through our habits, through our words, through our spending patterns, and yes, even through our silence. The question is not about whether you're teaching them about money. In fact, the question is, what are you teaching them about money? The financial education your kids receive at home will determine their relationship with money for the future. So don't leave it to chance. Teach them about money today. Have those money conversations today. Teach them the lessons. Build the habits. Because the cost of financial illiteracy isn't just measured in currency value. It's measured in terms of opportunities, in terms of options and the kind of life the children will be able to build in future. If this breakdown opened your eyes to something you hadn't thought about previously, do consider subscribing to the Global Daisies. You might notice that this is not fluff or feel-good entertainment. These are uncomfortable truths about money, about success, and about building a life that actually matters, and that we are sharing through our lived experience. So see you in the next one.